How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. Today I'm going to be answering a couple of questions I got from a fellow Shiba owner. They were asking, how do I deal with the dreaded Shiba stop? If any of you have ever seen a Shiba or ever owned a Shiba, you're probably quite familiar with this, where your Shiba will stop in a dead walk, usually on a walk. They will stop dead in their tracks and they'll sit down and refuse to move. So, how do I personally deal with this? Well, in my case, Adonis didn't just do the stop, but he would do the stop, drop, and roll, where he would actually stop in his tracks, he would lay down, and then roll on his back and expect belly scratches. That was how he protested going in whatever direction we were going in, whether that was leaving somewhere fun or he just didn't want to go anywhere from the beginning. First off, your dog is not being stubborn. I know everybody says a Shiba is stubborn. I don't believe they're stubborn. I think they're very smart. And we need to understand what our Shiba is telling us. So first off, when your Shiba stops, there's a couple ways you can handle it. I'll just go over the general techniques I used with Adonis that happened to work with us, and I'll give you some more tips afterwards. So for Adonis, whenever he would stop going, usually it was because we were leaving somewhere that he liked to be. So we could be there for an hour, we could be there for 20 minutes. Either way, he would do the same thing. So if I'm walking in a direction and he just stops, he's on his harness, and usually a long lead or even regular 6-foot lead, he would just stop, lay down, and as soon as I would approach him to go and, I would grab his harness. If he just laid down, I would take his harness. He had a little handle on it, so I would get the back of his harness and very gently, literally as light as this. This is all it took for me to be like, okay, come on. He'd say, okay, we're going. Because otherwise, then I would end up picking him up, which is one of the ways I would take him, and I would just carry him. If he didn't move after the first couple of techniques, in the end, I would just carry his little butt a couple of steps, and I would put him down because he didn't like to be carried. He was also 41 pounds at his biggest. He was a little chunky, I can admit that, but he was also just a very large Shiba. That's what happens when you fix them super early. His little bollies hadn't even dropped, and he was neutered, and apparently his growth plate stayed open, so he got extra tall. I called him my little mutant. So one option is to carry your dog. That's kind of as a last resort, I would say. But for him, usually I would just go, because he gave into pressure very lightly, I would just do this and just kind of lift up on his harness and he would go. If that didn't work, and he would roll onto his back and be super cute, as you see him in the background of a lot of my videos with the my desktop background, that's what he would do. And he'd be a cute little creeper, and he would lay there. And of course, inevitably, I spoiled my baby, so I would go give him some scratchies on his chest, then move down to his little chicken legs, and he would end up, flailing around like a turtle stuck on his back and kick me and then knock me over, and then I would also be a turtle stuck on my back. But after some laughs and giggles, then I would get him, and then usually by then he would get it, and we would move on our merry way. If you don't want to do that, which I totally understand, the other thing I would do is when he would roll on his back, or when he would stall, I would say, okay, you don't want to go in this direction, so we'll go in this direction. We'll go in the direction you want to go. And I would kind of fake him out. We would, I'd start walking that way. He would immediately get up and start going that direction. We'd walk a few steps, and then I would say, ha, got your sucker, and then we would just turn around and go the other direction. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go in. Oh, goodness, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Come on. Let's go this way. Come on. That usually didn't work if I just stopped. Usually I would make a big circle, start slowly turning us around and going in the direction we need to go. You can try it where you just go a few steps and then turn around. But with him, a lot of times he'd say, I'm smarter than you. You're trying to outsmart me. I'm going to lay down again. So I'd say, okay, we'll try going this slow way. Mind you, all these times I'm not in a big rush. If I am in a big rush, I just pick him up and carry him and say, we're not doing this now. But he's not stubborn. They're just being a Shiba. They're saying, I don't want to leave. I don't know why I should leave. it's fun out here, otherwise I'm either, cooped up in the house all day, which Adonis didn't mind. He really didn't. He had to be coaxed to go outside, but when he was outside, he enjoyed it. But, every dog is different. So for him, the three options usually would be when he lays down, all I mostly had to do was just put, again, I use this as a reference, this much pressure, gently lift up on, 2 fingers on the back of his harness on the handle, and he would say, okay, we're going. If that didn't work, then I would play going in the direction he wants to go, and we would just make a little circle, a big wide circle going back in the direction we want to go. And if all else fails, I would just pick his cute little heavy butt up, and he wouldn't like it, but I would walk him a few steps, carrying my giant Shiba, and then I would put him down, and he'd say, okay, fine. A couple of times he would play dead again, and I would pick him back up, but usually he's like, okay, I don't want to do that. But all the while, I'm not getting mad at him. Other options you can do is you can try, I've done this with my sister's cat. When she was she was harness training him and teaching him to go outside for a little bit, because he's a very wily little dude, and he's got a lot of energy, and he drives her crazy with that energy, poor thing. And so she was getting him used to being outside. Well, when he would go outside, he would get nervous by the sound of traffic going by, and so to get him unnervous or to get his attention again, I would pick up like a rock, or a stick or something, not to throw it at him. Gosh, no, I would take it and just toss it a little ways away. Sometimes I'd do that with Adonis as well. You take a little toss, if they're sniffing in something you don't want them to sniff in, or they don't want to move, take a rock or a pine cone or a stick or something that makes noise, and I would just, toss it a little bit further for Adonis, because I wanted him to move. For the kitty, for Miko, not so much, just a little distance, and he would say, like, what's that? I'm trying to get into their predator instinct. So I'm trying to get their attention by, making a noise over here. There's a rock over here. And Adonis would usually say, hey, what's that? He would go and sniff and see it was a rock, and then we'd go on our jolly way. But I'm able to distract him and redirect his attention from wanting to give a refusal. I mean, I'll say it bluntly, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Instead of him playing dead, he says, oh, what's that? Or with Miko, I would take a little stick and just kind of, run it along the sidewalk, along the concrete, and make a weird noise, or I would dig in some dirt with it. Just doing something to kind of bring his attention to that versus what he was afraid of. My sister did a lot of slow desensitization with him, with good Miko boy, and so he was great. After a while, he loved being outside. But if he ever got startled by something, we would bring him in if he got really scared. But if he didn't want to move him, we just wanted to help him enjoy and get some of that energy out. I would just start digging in the dirt, or playing with a stick or something, or just dragging it along, and he would follow it. So that's something you can try with your Shiba. Take a couple rocks and just toss them in front of you. If your Shiba stops, and see if that'll help, or get a little stick and just kind of run it alongside you. The Shiba may want to play with it, and that's okay as long as you're still moving. Another option could be that you take a little dowel and tape a spoon to it, put a little peanut butter on there, and you walk with that, and you just have it, hold it in front of them. They're able to get a little bit of a lick, and then you keep walking. You hold it in front of them, they move forward, they get the lick, and they go on. Kind of like a horse with a carrot on a stick, but this case, you're not just taunting, or teasing your dog. Your dog is able to get rewarded for that. And over time, you can fade away from that. That's the whole point of positive reinforcement, is we don't always rely on the treat. We fade away from that to real life reward. And in the end, a lot of times if, a dog doesn't want to go in a certain direction, I say, okay, let's go where the dog wants to go. I mean, so long, within limits, so long as they're not taking us in the street and whatnot, but they may be tired of going in the same loop over and over again, or maybe they're afraid of it. Maybe something happened one day and they have a negative association of it. It could be different looking at night than it is during the day. So I would say, whenever they do that, instead of trying to fight them to go in that direction you want them to go, try going in a different direction, a new direction. Follow where they want to go. Again, as long as everybody's safe. I mean, I have most of the time when Adonis and I would take him out to a new trail. It was like, perfectly manicured, beautiful canopy of trees everywhere, and he didn't want to go through. And I was like, dude, we drove out of our way to go to this nice place I thought he would like, but he didn't. But I trust his instincts. And so I said, okay, we'll go in this direction, down the dirty, mucky woods, and that's what he liked. I had him on a long line, and he enjoyed it, and we went on many adventures, and we had, we bonded greatly over that. But I'm not saying that's what you have to do. But, maybe take your dog to like a nearby, I don't know, walking trail and see if that helps. There's a number of different things that you can still, work with your dog with, but these are the ones that I've found that help the best. With the one Shiba that I've had, and I'm sure with the many Shibas I plan to have in the future over time, I'm sure they will all teach me something new. And I will earn the name Crazy Shiba Lady, which is the name of my other YouTube channel. Instead of a crazy cat lady, I will definitely be a crazy Shiba lady. And possibly a crazy ferret lady. My poor sweatshirt is fading away. But I'll be a crazy animal lady anyway. But anyway, so I hope those tips helped you out. Let me know if they do or if they don't. Just try to think like your Shiba. Try to make it make sense to the Shiba, where you can make the walk enjoyable for both of you. So thanks so much for the question. Of course, reach out with any more, anybody, anytime. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We are almost to 1,000 subscribers. I cannot believe it, and I cannot thank you all enough. Go say hi to your little critters. Say how do you do for me. Give them some kind of loving. Until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.